Welcome to Maree. My name's Sue. Today I'm going to share how to make a spinach pie. It's with a spelt flour pie crust, and I'm going to mix it in my food processor here. So I'm going to do a combination of whole grain spelt flour, 150 grams. That's about 1 cup. And I'll put the measurements above as usual. And 1 cup of white spelt flour. And the recipe will be in a link below in the description, and it's got cheese in it today. So I'm using Gouda cheese, but before that I'm going to put my chilled butter in. That's 200 grams. I'm using salted butter, so I'm not going to add any extra salt, but if you are using an unsalted butter, add a little bit more. Add 1/8 of a teaspoon or 1/4 of a teaspoon to taste of salt. I'm just going to mix those two around together first, just to break the butter up a little bit. So my butter's broken up. It's not super fine. Now you can do this by hand. I'm just doing it with the machine today because it's convenient and quicker for the video. In my jug here, I've got 1/4 of a cup of chilled water. I'm just going to add most of that except a little bit, and I'm going to mix it first. Just needs a little bit of help. So this is a delicious short crust, cheesy style buttery pastry that just melts in your mouth. Just going to add the rest of that water. Okay, look at that. It's come together really nicely. So now I need to do the next step, which is separate it into 2 halves and pop it on some paper. So because I want 2 even pieces, it's a free-form pie, so I'm just doing it on a baking tray. I'm going to add some flour to my bench. I think that'll be best. And they'll bring the dough together, the pastry, just to combine it with our hands for the last bit. Just dropped a bit, Sue. Okay, that's better. Let's weigh that. So we've got 646, so that's 323, thereabouts. Let's cut that in half. 323 and 322. Okay. So I'm going to flatten it into a disc, and you can wrap it in paper or you can wrap it in plastic. I'm going to be a bit more environmentally friendly. I'm just seeing some larger bits of butter, so I'm just going to knead that out a little bit. Then we're going to rest this in the fridge until I'm ready to make the pie. But you can make this a few days ahead of your pie making day. You've just got a little package. So my pastry is wrapped up and ready to rest in the fridge. I'm going to rest it in there for at least 1 hour, and then we'll do the step 2 or stage 2 of the spinach pie. So the next step is to make the spinach or greens filling. You can use either spinach or kale. Today I have frozen spinach that I've defrosted, and I've just squeezed out the excess water. And that is 400 grams. And if you've only got fresh spinach, you'll need to steam that and wilt it first, or kale, or you can use a combination. It's a great way to use up those wilted vegetables in your fridge. Originally, the recipe that I was inspired by is an Australian chef called Julie Busuttil. A friend in Australia gave me this recipe, and I've tweaked it to suit what I like. And she usually puts in 150 grams of ricotta and 100 grams of cream. Now today I've got a 250 gram tin or tub of ricotta. I want to use all that up because I won't use it on another recipe. So I'm going to not put the cream in. And I prefer the lightness of ricotta. I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper just for taste. How cute are these little shakers? My Italian friend gave them to me last visit as a gift. I love them. And And that's the first salt and pepper shakers I've owned that are kind of like a traditional style. A little bit of chili, that's just for a little bit of zing, that's optional. And you can use fresh garlic, crushed garlic. I'm going to use garlic powder. I just like how it mixes through. And that's 2 teaspoons of garlic powder. I've got some fresh nutmeg that I've grated, so I'm just going to add, that's about a quarter of a teaspoon or 1/8 of a teaspoon. And I've got some optional lemon zest, and I'm going to put a teaspoon of that in because I love lemon. Let's just blend that together. This is a great recipe to make for guests for lunch or for a picnic. I'm meeting with some friends tomorrow for lunch, so I'm making this for lunch tomorrow. And I'll bake it today, but reheat it tomorrow. Okay, that's nicely mixed. Now we need something to bind it together. So the recipe uses 2 eggs, and I'm going to pop some aside, about a tablespoon for the egg wash. It's my timer on my stove. So before I started filming, I've just been frying an onion that I sliced, just sauteing that so it's soft. That'll need to cool down before I can pop it into the ricotta spinach mix. So it's time to roll out the pastry. I've had the pastry out of the fridge for about a half an hour. I'm just going to add some rice flour to my pastry mat here. And I'm going to roll out 1 piece first for the base. I just need to gently work this because it's still a bit cold. Today I'm aiming for kind of a square rectangle kind of shape, about a 25 centimetre square. Just sort of a good way to make sure I have the right shape. So I have a cake tin here, a square cake tin, and this one is, let me just double check on my measurement here. This is a 20 centimetre, so I need to make it bigger than that. Have my pastry ruler. We're at 24 and 25 that way. Okay, that should be about right. Now I'm going to gently try and roll this onto my tray here. So that went on nicely. I'm not an expert pie maker, but with this kind of free-form pie, even if your form is a little bit wonky, it will still taste great. And just rolling out the top. And I want to make it also a 25 centimetre square if I can. I think that'll be all right, and I'll neaten it up as I put it on. So I'm just going to pop all of this spinach mixture in, and we need to keep a border about 1 centimetre around the edge. And it will look like you've got a lot of filling, but you kind of pile it up into the middle. This is how I've done it before. Before I started filming, I'm not sure if I said I've popped my oven onto 180 degrees C with a fan, and I'll put the Fahrenheit measurement above. Okay, I think that looks about right. Now I'm going to roll this on to my rolling pin and try and place this on top. Now I'm just going to bring it together with a fork, but what I'll do is I'm going to use some of my egg wash, which I should have done before I put the top on, just to seal that base underneath. And all I do is I just crimp it with my fork around the edge. And then just kind of roll it up and press it down. If you've got a fancier way of doing a nice border, feel free to do it. Mine is very rustic. I brush it with the egg wash, and before I started filming I just added a tiny bit of oat milk, 2 teaspoons, just to loosen up the egg wash a bit. I've got some white sesame seeds here and I'm just going to sprinkle it on top. And I've got some black sesame seeds. This makes it look pretty. And I just need to make some air holes in the top of the pie, so I'm just going to put a cut through with this knife in the centre. About 4 little holes. So you can either prepare this pie to this stage and store it in the fridge and then bake it the following day or when you're ready. Today I'm going to bake it for you because I'm filming, and I'm going to serve it tomorrow for lunch, but I'm going to just reheat it before I serve it. So now I'm going to bake it for 40 to 50 minutes in my warm oven, which is at 180 with a fan, and until it gets golden brown. So my spinach pie is all baked, and look how delicious that is. I can't wait to eat this tomorrow. I'll take some photos and pop it with the video. I won't cut it right now because I need to let it cool completely, and I don't want to destroy it because I want to present it in one piece for my guests tomorrow. I hope you've enjoyed my how to make a spelt flour spinach pie. Let me know in the comments below if you give it a go. It's really, I say it's easy because I'm not a fantastic pie maker. It's rustic, it just comes together and it tastes delicious and great for a picnic, barbecue, dinner or lunch. Something you can share with your guests, friends, family. Thanks for watching, and hej då from Sweden. See you next time. Bye.